Hey, what's good, champions? Arian, Tyson, the Moving Motivator here. Just coming at you this morning to shoot this quick video. And I want to encourage you and I want to challenge you today to stop wasting your time. Stop wasting your time. And what I mean by that is, you know if you're wasting your time. There are many ways that you could be wasting your time. Now, the good thing is you're not wasting your time watching this video because you may not be aware of the time wasters. So let me share with you why this is important. If we don't go after what we want, we'll never get it. If we don't ask the right questions, we will always get the wrong answers. If we don't take a step forward, we're always going to be standing in the exact same place. Life is a journey comprised of small steps, but it's about progression, not perfection. And the key is to take steps every single day. We already know this, right? But how often are we stuck in a cycle of worry, fear, and other forms of overthinking? You're talking to someone who used to specialize in overthinking, so I know what I speak of. And how often are we aimlessly distracted? Most of all, how often do we procrastinate? And what we must realize is, I'll be the first to admit that I still struggle with some of these detrimental habits that sometimes sneak up on me and get in the way of my effectiveness. And these super common traits among my friends, my family, acquaintances, these are things we all do that end up wasting our lives one precious moment at a time. So let me share with you some of the things that you need to stop wasting your time with. Stop wasting your life or wasting your time with meaningless distractions. Distractions are both more damaging and more tempting than we even realize sometimes. When we fill our lives with distractions, it's often because we're scared of what life might really be like without constant social media, without constant television, without music from time to time, etc. Don't numb yourself with ongoing, relentless noise. Don't let the distractions hold you back. Control your distractions before your distractions control you. Okay. Also, realize that we can waste our life and waste our time being in a state of overwhelm. If you have too many things on your plate, it can make you feel hopeless and helpless. You'll keep asking yourself, how can I possibly get it all done? You have no clue, so guess what? You don't even try. We've all been overwhelmed like this at a time or two, maybe even 5 or 10. But what has worked for me is instead of thinking, oh my goodness, there's too much on my plate, I asked myself, what if I started over again with a clean plate? Now, I consciously think about what I would put back on my plate if I could wipe it clean right now. So I challenge you to do the same thing. Think about it. What could you do if your schedule was empty? If your plate was completely clean with limited space, what would you put on it today? Another way that you're wasting your time, you waste your time with constant indecisiveness. What if you simply can't figure out what to do next? Now, often this kind of indecision leads to doing absolutely nothing. And I remind myself that not deciding leads to stagnation. And while I don't believe you need to move 1,000,000 miles an hour, I don't like myself held stagnant either. What I've learned is that indecision is often predicated by a fear of not knowing the perfect decision. Because we can't possibly know exactly what the future will hold. Is it better? Ask yourself, is it better to take that new job or keep this one? If you're in business, ask yourself, Is it cool to start that? Is it fruitful to start this new endeavor? Or continue to water where you are? Is it better to work on this project or that one? It's impossible to know because the future is uncertain. And then finally, and this is a huge one, we live our lives fearing failure. The fear of failure can really mess with our minds. It can really mess us up when we don't feel good enough to succeed. And it's confusing. It feels like we're almost certain that we're going to embarrass ourselves regardless of what we do. Now, of course, this ain't true. But this feeling comes on strong, especially when we're working outside of our zones of comfort. It could be even debilitating. So what can be done? And here's what I remind myself to do. And here's what I'm encouraging you to do today. I remind myself that if I'm too afraid of failure, I can't possibly do what needs to be done to be successful. I also remind myself that failure is actually not the worst outcome. Succeeding in life in the wrong things or not even trying are both far worse than failing. The truth is, the right thing to do and the easy thing to do are rarely the same thing. You have to push yourself. You have to be willing to fail forward. Because if you try something and fail, you've learned a lesson. You've gotten some priceless practice. And next time you'll be a step ahead. But if you don't even try, out of empty fear, you've learned nothing. And you'll likely continue procrastinating because you're stuck in the habit of running from fear. I've often said fear is for suckers. And this running is just as exhausting as actually pushing through and doing it anyway. And remember, there's a big difference between empty fatigue and gratifying exhaustion. Life is too short, and it's time for you to invest in activities that move you forward. The value of doing so is much greater than the value of being safe and doing nothing for the rest of your life. I wanted to share that with you. Apologize for going a little longer than I want to, but nevertheless, I trust that you got value from it. If you did, feel free to leave me a comment. Feel free to share this video with someone. Remember, in life, you have two choices. You can make moves or you can make excuses, but you most certainly cannot do both. It's yours truly, Arian, Tyson, the Moving Motivator, and I will talk to you on the next one. Stop wasting your life. Peace.